Hello, welcome to sunny Malahide here just by the marina. Isn't it lovely here on a Friday morning? Why are we standing here? Well, we're just outside the Grand Hotel in Malahide, where the Irish manager always holds his pre-match press conferences the day before any match. Usually he has his captain with him, which is traditionally Robbie Keane, but Robbie Keane wasn't there today. Nothing to be alarmed about there. It was Mark Wilson. It's just that Martin O'Neill's decided he's not necessarily going to have his captain with him for these press conferences. After all the saga about Roy Keane's book, finally I think we're moving on from that a bit and finally getting to this game against Gibraltar, about which there's a real sense of just getting it out of the way. And O'Neill's message throughout the press conference was all about not taking anything for granted and not being complacent. And one interesting thing he did say is that Ireland aren't good enough to be complacent, which is kind of rubbing it in a bit, but it's probably correct. Here's what he had to say.
You know, lads, I must admit I do have a little smile to myself. Gibraltar, I know they've got some part-time players playing in their team, but Gibraltar, the little player playing on the left-hand side stepped inside the Polish right centre back with 2 minutes to go to half-time and fired this shot about 3 inches over the bar, which would have made it one each in the game. Might have been an interesting tussle. You haven't seen it. We've had to study it because it's my job. The game was exceptionally difficult for Poland to break down. They didn't change. They got a deflected goal in the first 12 minutes of the match, 15 minutes of the game, to go 1-0 up. I mentioned to you that I'd spoken to one of the Polish fellas, not the manager, but one of the other lads beside him, said that they found it really difficult, and the only time that they breathed any sort of sigh of relief was when they got the second goal. We've seen this. Poland are a decent side. I don't think that we seriously would not be good enough to be complacent. We certainly not. We're not good enough to be complacent.
No, we know it's going to be a tough game for us. I think it's just important that we go out there with the right attitude. We've watched videos on them obviously this week, and they get a lot of men behind the ball. So I think obviously if we can get that goal earlier in the game, it will help settle it. But we know it's going to be a difficult game, and we've got to go out there with the right attitude.
I think that we would have to try and be on the front foot immediately. Get some tempo to the game. Don't let a 10 or 15 minute period drift when nothing has happened. Easier said than done, of course, but that's our aim, to go and be positive from moment one, to get into the game. At the end of the day, we're going to try and formulate a plan where we can beat them, but really to be on the front foot from moment one.
So those are the thoughts of Martin O'Neill and Mark Wilson, who seem certain to start somewhere along the back line tomorrow for Ireland against Gibraltar. Just one little thing on the Roy Keane stuff during the week. If Ireland somehow don't manage to get a result tomorrow, if something terrible goes wrong and they get hammered next Tuesday by Germany, I wonder, will people start asking questions about all the attention that was focused on Roy Keane's book and whether it was right that it was launched during an international week, maybe one that might bubble under. Let's hope it doesn't come to that tomorrow and Ireland get the job done, and then it'll be a case of moving on to the big test in Gelsenkirchen against Germany next Tuesday.